Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order a regular council meeting of the City of Satellite Beach, June 19th, 2019, approximately 7 p.m. Please join me in a moment of silence in the pledge. And a pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to citizens' comments for non-agenda items. Floor is open. Here are no citizens' comments. Citizens' comments are closed. Move on to agenda item 4, city council comments. Mindy? Thank you. Don?
Let's see, last week was a busy week. I went to the Dean Mead breakfast where 4 of our Brevard delegation senators and representatives were there, went over what kind of transpired and what they're looking at next session. Thursday night last week, town hall meeting. Friday, I had a policy committee meeting in Orlando. Yesterday, I did ethics. And today, I went to the East Central Florida Resilience meeting in New Smyrna Beach. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Jody?
Monday, we all went to the Space Coast League of Cities, most of us, and congratulations to Dominic and Courtney being recognized as Home Rule Heroes. Is that the right phrase? Mm-hmm. Home Rule Heroes. They, as well as some other city officials and city managers from around our county, received that award. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
I have nothing, sir.
Thank you. I also went to the Space Coast League of City, and to Courtney and Dom, congratulations. Town hall meeting I did. I went over to the League of Cities policy boards earlier in the week, and the ethics training yesterday. So it was a busy week. Any other comments from council? Here none. Thank you. City Attorney's report.
The only thing that I have, in the event any of you did not already know, the DOA hearing was dismissed regarding ordinance 1159.
Thank you.
So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you for the work on that, too. Good, please.
Jim, I'd like to just express your mom's passing. Just, we're sorry that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. And we'll move on to city manager's report.
Okay, so we're going to be concluding the last of our town hall meetings tomorrow evening. It is going to be at the Satellite Beach Library. Starts at 6, so if anyone's interested, we'll have a full house. Courtney received a thank you note from Angela Fields thanking the police department staff for helping and caring for her, and that's in your packet. We will be canceling the July 3rd council meeting as your city staff prepares for the upcoming budget submittal. Let's see. Prior to the council meeting on August 21st, we're going to do a 5 o'clock workshop to present the results of the Florida Sea Grant and Stetson University Climate Change and Policy Recommendations for Resiliency. And that was a packet that Courtney had shared with you all. And so any questions before the workshop, we'll sit down and go over that with you all. So speaking of resiliency, the City of Satellite Beach has been invited to numerous events to share our knowledge and your efforts in moving forward with this. Courtney has been to the Florida Planning and Zoning Association and spoke there, the Neptune Beach Sea Level Rise Symposium in DeValco County, St. Lucie County Resilience Planning Seminar, and she's in Jacksonville this evening as a panel member for a symposium they're having there this evening. So Satellite is setting the bar for a lot of these beachside communities, and so it's really exciting. Courtney and I both attended Colonel Kevin Williams' retirement ceremony on June 17th. It was heartful. He was one of our good commanders, not that any of them aren't. I hate to see every 2 years you break them in and then they go, but we have a new commander coming on board, so we're looking forward to working with him. And then the last thing, we did an educational day out in the streets on A1A on the lighted crosswalks, and the city staff, this is a quote from the county staff who was present with TPO staff. The city staff probably got sick of me repeating how amazing it was to have such cooperation from the city. If we could all work like that, what a better place our county would be. The FDOT folks are already talking about some additional education methods for the next pop-up, which will be on June 28th. So if anybody wants to stand on the side of the road with me at 6:45 in the morning on the 28th, I welcome you. And so, those have been real successful. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Do we have a council meeting on the 21st of August, or are we just doing a workshop that night?
No, you have a council meeting on the 21st, so we're going to start the workshop at 5, and then move into the council meeting.
So our meetings in August are the 14th,
I don't have our schedule.
because the 21st is the 3rd. It is the 3rd, yeah. Okay.
First and third,
You
right?
got it? You got it.
You're overthinking it.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions for our city manager? One thing I forgot to say, I got an email today from the Chamber of Commerce, Florida, and we're the 11th best city to live at in Satellite Beach, so. just
In the
want everybody
state?
to know that. In the state. Yeah.
Nice.
So, great.
Who
great
were in
work
the
on-
top 10?
They're there. I just saw that we were 11th, they said, so congratulating us. So.
Just want to know who our competition is.
Okay, any questions for city manager? Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 7, discuss, take action on memorandum of agreement supporting East Central Florida Regional Resilience Collaboration.
Well, this is a resolution that the East Central Florida Regional Reliance Collaborative put together, and it's several counties, multiple cities, and they're looking for our support and endorsement of their resolution. Doesn't cost us anything. It kind of just puts us all working together, especially when you have land use issues and comp plan issues, they get complicated. And so by all of us working together with the Planning Council, this just says that we are in, and if you approve this agenda item, the clerk will send a action letter to the Regional Planning Council to let them know what your vote was tonight, so.
Thank you. Questions from council before we open up for public comment?
I just, this is what I went to today. They had a meeting in New Smyrna Beach. I went up there this morning. Courtney and some of our staff have been heavily involved in this. This is moving in the same direction and vein that our city has kind of been moving in as far as sustainability issues. They had probably about 75 people that were there today from all parts of the area that were sitting at tables of 8 going over different priorities. So it was pretty enlightening just to go there and see what was going on, because I did get, some information that Courtney had given me, but, being there today really solidified that this is what we're doing, and we're part of the bigger picture of joining a bunch of other people that want to do what we're doing.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from comment before I open up for public? Hearing none, at this time, open up agenda item 7 for public comment. Hearing no public comment, back to council. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to endorse the East Central Florida Regional Resilience Collaborative Memorandum of Understanding.
I have a motion by
Second.
Councilman Montanaro, second by Councilwoman Gibson. Any further discussion? Don?
Councilwoman Zicki,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bremer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gibson,
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro,
Yes.
and Mayor Katina.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you, staff. Moving on to agenda.
Can I ask a question?
No, ma'am. That was during public, the way the system works is I'll open it up for public comment for that agenda item, and the public speaks, then it comes back to council, but there's no,
Did you ask the citizens' comments?
I absolutely did.
Ray got me in here about 3 minutes late.
Yep. Citizens' comments are always at the beginning of the meeting.
Except we have other items at the beginning.
No, we always have, the only time there's citizens' comment comes right after the meeting. So at this time, I'm moving on to agenda item 8, take action on the school resource officer contract renewal. Is the chief here to speak on it?
She's out of town, but this is, there's no change in this memorandum of understanding for your resource officers. So it's been well received, it's working. Jody could probably attest to that. So we're just looking for you to support this.
Yep, and this is the same one as last year where we
Yes,
had
yes, sir.
the boost in their percent that they're paying, the
Yes, sir.
52 for the 4 officers, which, great, we're working good with them, and you got to do this in today's world, so.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute the fiscal year 1920 school resource officer memorandum of understanding with the school board of Brevard County.
I second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilwoman Gibson, second by Councilwoman Rozicki. At this time, open up for public comment on agenda item 8.
Diane Douglas. Just a silly question, but are the officers going in for, what do you call that, training, upgrading, all that kind of stuff?
Yes, they have, I know last summer, I had asked the same question. They do training during the school break.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
They're trained, and they get retrained and.
Yeah, because
work on it.
everything's different now.
Yep,
So, okay, so.
Yes,
it's
ma'am,
just-
they did.
Yeah, okay, very cool.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Public comment portion for agenda item 8 is still open. Hearing no further, bring it back to council. Any further, council?
I just want to make one statement. I mean, I think the public came out and really, our constituents came out in force, and the reason why we are paying our SROs out of our budget is because that's what the community wanted, and this is representative of what they have asked for, and we supported it for them, and I'm very happy that we could do this. So anyways, that's my 2
Thank you.
cents.
I would add, in the last year, adding them to both our elementary schools has been very positive
Right.
effect, so.
Perfect. And I know your husband works very strongly in that field with the rest of it, and we're just so much better off doing this. So, any further? Lynn?
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Breimer?
Yes.
Councilman Ruzicki?
Yes.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes. Okay, let me just go back here. Agenda item 9, discuss, take action on proposed agreement with Mr. E.F. Struthers regarding 375 Lee. At your guys here, everyone should have a copy of the agreement.
I printed out a copy. There should be copies for everybody there.
Oh, here we go. Got it. Finally got it on page.
This is different from the one we received in the email.
All right. Jim?
Before you this evening is the proposed agreement based upon the main issues that we talked about at the last council meeting, which includes in paragraph 2, the payment of $30,000 to the city, and we included a date of August 5th, which is the time period prior to when the house is to be raised and the property level, or the property cleared and leveled. And then paragraph 4 has to do with the issue of securing the property to make sure that some issues that have been coming up don't come up in the future, but that will be dealt with as just a code compliance issue after the main issues are taken care of. And then once these items are taken care of, the city's agreeing to release the lien that's been placed on the property. And then the rest of it's kind of boilerplate. The one issue that I discussed with Mr. Struthers' attorney, because this agreement has been agreed to in the terms by Mr. Strother, who just came in. So his side, so to speak, has agreed to these terms as well. The one matter that did come up was that apparently the property that I initially spoke to council about having a closing on, and they wanted a partial release of the lien. They're also talking about potentially paying the fine out of that, so they're asking us to give a partial release only for that piece of property, which I don't see an issue with that as long as we get the payment in exchange for the quid pro quo for getting the payment. So then the city would have the payment before the time that's provided for in the agreement.
Great. Jim, I know we talked about this too, and I talked with the assistant city manager on it. I have no problem releasing that after this is signed.
Correct.
Because the whole idea behind it is a compliance that we've talked about.
All right.
So once this is signed, we are going to, in approximately 60 days, be at the end.
Correct.
Compliance. So we're going to get what we want out of it, compliance, or we're going to...
It'll come back to
proceed,
council.
come back to
That's
council.
provided in there.
Correct. So I see no way why we should hold anything up, hold the money. We're going to get that money, and we're going to get what we, one way or the other, in 60 days. We're going to be done.
Correct.
Okay? That's my feeling. I just want to see this go.
So are you saying that you would see the lien released as of right now?
Soon
or
as
soon
this
we get
agreement
it
is signed.
Which could be tonight, right?
Well, not the lien's not going to be released. The lien's not going to be released until they pay the money
the money.
and clear the property
Right.
and secure the property.
Okay.
Okay?
I see no problem
But
with that.
what they're asking for is just a partial release for another piece of property, and then in exchange for that partial release, they're going to pay the $30,000 at that time, rather than necessarily wait till August the 5th.
So is this one of those where they're going to really quick hand us the money after we release the lien, or is
It'll go to the closing agent. Actually, the other, Mr. Strother's attorney is actually handling that closing, so
Okay.
I don't have an issue with that, yeah. He won't break escrow until he has everything, so.
I don't see any problems with that. I'm just glad.
Any further discussion?
I have a question. He remains the property owner through all of this, correct?
Correct.
So he pays the fine, raises the building, and then it's his to
It's
sell,
the-
rebuild, whatever he
Correct.
chooses to do with it.
Correct.
Okay.
What'll happen is that we call them clouds on the title. That's what the lien is. The city's lien is a cloud on the title. So once all this is done, the city will sign the lien and it'll get rid of that quote cloud.
Okay.
And then he can deal with the property however he wishes at that point.
I'm okay with this.
Great.
I initially had issues with the way it was being presented before, but I'm okay with
Okay,
this.
great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, at this time, open up for public comment on agenda item 9. Hearing no public, back to council.
I'll make a motion to agree to execute the agreement between the city and Mr. Strother.
Second.
I have a motion by,
Can I suggest
Please.
an amendment to that and to allow the partial release if that comes to pass?
And to
They
allow
just-
the partial release if it comes to pass.
Second on that.
That's
I have
fine.
a motion by Councilman Montanaro, second by Councilman Gibson. Further discussion from council? Quinn?
Councilwoman Zicki?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Breimer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes. Staff, and they've been working on it. Thank you, everyone, for it. Jim, thanks. Okay, moving on to agenda item 10. Please look at the date, because our next meeting will be July 17th, because of the 4th, the way it falls, and them getting budget stuff ready. Okay, July 17th, and we'll have a presentation of the budget, and the proposed millage rate is also on that day, along with whatever else will come up between now and the 17th. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 11, the adoption of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the June 5th meeting minutes as submitted.
A motion by Councilman Montanaro.
Second.
Second by Councilman Rozicki. Any further comment on the minutes? Hearing none?
Councilwoman Gibson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Breimer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zicki?
Yes.
Councilman Montanaro?
Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Yes, motion passes. Council, any more new business before? Hearing none, thank you all very much.
Coming
And
up.
thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
Bye, everyone.
Frank,